Kia ora, morena, goeiemorgen, good morning, and to the Cape Townian friends away. Guys and girls, my name is Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay here in Tauranga. This is on the North Island. We're about 3 hours from Cape Town, or not from Cape Town, from Auckland. Small world actually, if you think about that. Guys and girls, this morning, I want to tell you what I do so that we can get the formalities out of the way. Myself, I'm a financial advisor, so I help people with bringing money over to New Zealand. I help people with their insurances in New Zealand. And if you need some help with motor vehicle insurance, that as well, life covers, that's all that we do. So I want to make it quite pertinent this morning that we're not immigration advisors. All right. I'm going to tell you a bit later about some of the stuff we are going to do today. I just want to get that open as well. But first of all, I promised somebody that I would tell them why New Zealand is a good country to immigrate to. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this morning. New Zealand has got its small problems, but it's not on the scale of what the South African problems currently is. Should the South African problems become something of the past, they could probably be a better country than New Zealand, but I can't see that happening very quickly. So, all right, New Zealand has a very robust, growing economy that needs investments and skills. As New Zealand is a small country and a growing country, it will always need more and more people that will work here. So that's also part of our later part of our program this morning that we're going to talk about working in New Zealand. This current economic, or the current economy of the country, it's really growing, and I think there's so much more space. The one drawback of New Zealand is there's no real mines here. There's the gold mine at Waihi, and the other day we heard about a charcoal mine, actually. I'm presuming this charcoal mine has got another 25 years of life in it left, so it's quite something different. I didn't even know that that type of mine was available in New Zealand, but it's quite big presumably. So, but the New Zealand economy, quite frankly, is about farming and about trees. They export massive amounts of trees all over the world, but mostly to China. So then the other good reason why you should probably think about coming to New Zealand is we actually have a democracy here that really works. So your vote brings the people that really cares into government. The last government has been a joint government, so they weren't supposed to run the country, but I think the going forward that whoever runs the new elections will keep that in the back of their mind going forward. So New Zealand is really an elusive, or inclusive, diverse, multicultural society. I saw that again while we were camping this week in Napier. In our camping ground, there were people from Koreans, Chinese, Filipinos, your local Maori were there, people with tattoos until into the roots of their hair, but everybody was peaceful amongst each other. Amongst the normal people, or let me say the white people, there was Germans, there was French, there was South Africans, there was the local Kiwi was there. So a more diverse group of people in one camping ground I've never ever before seen in my life. And 10 o'clock at night, everything was quiet. Nobody became in a fighting mode, nobody became drunk. It was just actually a bit of an eye-opener how these different cultures can really coexist in peace with each other. So then another good reason to move to New Zealand is that it's a beautiful but a very compact country. In New Zealand, we don't measure distance by the kilometers. We measure distance by the time it's taking us to drive there. So keep that in mind. If somebody tells you it's a 3-hour drive, it could probably be only 150 kilometers. It won't be 400 kilometers. In South Africa, if you drive 400 kilometers, you can do it probably in 3 hours. So then New Zealand has great national and regional parks. They've got large amounts of green zones. They've got waterways, walkways, and they've got beautiful cycleways. The one small problem with the New Zealand cycleways that I found is there's a real map for them. I don't know if anybody's got that answer to why there's no maps for New Zealand cycleways, or if you know where this elusive map is. I would love to have that. Then on the other side, coming from Africa, nearly everything in Africa is out to kill you. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but at the end of the day, in New Zealand, there's nothing that wants to kill you. Believe it or not. There's a few snakes here, but there's no snakes here. There's absolutely no snakes here. There's a few, what is spinnekopper? You know what a spinnekop is. The South Africans must know what a spinnekop is. So I'm a bit lost of English there this morning. So, but even those aren't poisonous at all. There's no crocodiles, there's no hippos. What's other things that kill you in Africa? There's no lions, none of those things. Scorpions, none. There's a little bird here that walks or flies with you while you're walking through the forest, and that's probably the most aggressive thing in New Zealand, to be quite frank. Yep. So then, oh yeah, if you are in New Zealand, you can actually support the world's best rugby team. Just by the way, I know the Springboks won the World Cup, but that's gone now. So they will still win another one. So, and in New Zealand, we've got a friendly culture, although it's not a very open culture. You will struggle to make friends with Kiwis, to be quite frank. I've met a lot of Kiwis, but I've formed no real bonds with them. But luckily, it's a lot of my local homies or home folk around here, which I can form bonds with. So, but it's a friendly society. If you stop somebody in the street and ask them directions, or you ask them help for something, they will stop and help you. They won't really go around and be abusive towards you or something like that. So keep that in open mind while you are mixing with the culture here. Then a further reason that I found out that people say New Zealand is a wonderful country, they said mouth-watering cuisine and fine wine. On the fine wine, my wife is more the expert there, as I don't partake in vino, but I do partake in mouth-watering cuisine. I can promise you, most of the stuff in South Africa that you love, like your potatoes, your scarbo, those type of things, your steaks. I actually love the way the meat tastes in New Zealand. It's a bit, according to me, it's a bit better than South Africa. I know a lot of people complain about the taste. Big thing is here, less salt, and then the cattle and the sheep they walk on wet grass the whole time. So what they eat is totally different. You don't get the Karoo lamb here. That if that is your taste, you probably would gonna miss that. On the other side, some things that the New Zealanders don't get right. They don't get haggis right, or afal as we call it, or tripe. I think it's tripe is the English word there. The problem that they have with that, they make it the Scottish way, and I could never really stomach the Scottish way. It's not good enough. And one thing I do miss about South Africa, let's get that right, I do miss my Indian foods. We do get the Indian spices here. You do get a lot of Indian restaurants here, but you don't get bunny chows. There's no real bunny chows. I saw somebody advertising bunny chows, I think it's in Auckland or something. I can't drive 300 kilometers for bunny chow. So I probably would one day drive 300 kilometers for bunny chow, but not yet. So then they also reckon the high quality of life in New Zealand. The education system, according to me, is not bad. The quality of life, the way that you live, houses are a bit smaller than in South Africa. Your plots is a bit smaller than in South Africa, except depending on where you live. If you live in a complex in Pretoria and you've got the small plot of land that you live on, you probably will have a bigger piece of land to live on in New Zealand. But houses here is still smaller. I've been to first brick house ever I've been to was yesterday in Tauranga, built totally of brick. And when I came back to where it comes from, the lady went to Italy and she wanted to build a bit of the Tuscan style. So that's where that specific house comes from. But the rest of our houses are made of wood. You can actually go and show you something. You can go and knock there. that is as hollow as you can think of. So, but it's made for a specific reason. If there's an earthquake here, we will probably survive that. While in a brick house, if it's not built correctly and not strengthened to the needed ties, we probably won't survive that. On the other side, they say New Zealand's a very family-friendly place. It's a great place to raise kids. If I look at the kids, I was unfortunate enough not to raise my kids here. I would have loved to raise my kids here. If you look at how free the kids is in New Zealand, that's one big thing. Kids go to the little parks on their own. There's skate parks all over. And your communal parks where kids can go and play, or where the parents can take their kids to go and play. There's really around every corner there is one. And the equipment there is maintained the whole time. So whenever you get some of these tow rags that write graffiti over that, within a few days the local council will remove the graffiti. If anybody breaks any of the stuff, the local council will fix that again. And everything is made quite safe. In Rotorua the other day, I had to walk across one of these little playing fields where the kids were. And the area where the kids could fall, they all had these type of soft rubber matting underfoot. It was quite interesting to me. I've never played on those in New Zealand, so according to the local law, I'm not allowed to play on those. So, yep. And then they reckon New Zealand is known for its great public service. Thus meaning your council in New Zealand is the same as you guys know a municipality in South Africa. So your local councils and those guys, they really get the job done. Something else from my side as well, why New Zealand is an easy country to live in, or a good country to immigrate to, the ease of doing business here. If you need a company, you can just go online, register your company. It takes half a day, you've got a company. Stuff like trusts is just done on a piece of paper. There's no real structure for trust on the one side. On the other side, company, to get that done, to get your IRD number or your tax number, to get your GST number, you can basically get all those numbers within 2 weeks, and you can get your trust, or you can get your company up and running in half a day. That's as easy as it is to do business here. Opening a bank account will take you about an hour, because the bank guys tries to sell you all their insurance and Kiwi Savers and everything else you're not even allowed to have while you are on a normal visa here. But they do try and do that because that's what they get paid for to do. So in that 1 hour that they open a bank account, even if, well, I've told them I am a financial advisor, even while I've told them that I do sell life insurance, they even tried to sell me life insurance. So that happened with the 2 bank accounts I have, and once I opened the business account, that also happened with that. So these guys just keeps on selling. They just keeps on selling. On the other side, I don't love the bank products. I don't think they offer you as much as the normal insurance company products do. So then the other thing from my side, which I love about New Zealand, is the wife said I should not sugarcoat this. So sorry, Mama. I like the crime-free living here. Yes, there is crime. And one of the other South African that I personally know of, her car has been broken in the other day. In our local area, there was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there were 7 cars that had stuff stolen out of them. Most of the cars weren't even locked. So that's how crime-free this area actually is. Yes, there is petty theft. There is people that will steal your stuff if they can see that. But it's not everybody wants to steal your stuff. You can actually leave your stuff alone for quite a while and come back and it will still be there. They still deliver your parcels through with a courier company. They leave it on your front doorstep, and they don't even, sometimes they don't even knock. So just leave it there. Nobody will steal it. It does happen sometimes that they do steal stuff, but that's not the norm. It's not. In South Africa, I felt as if there's somebody in every street every night going around to check if anything was loose, and if it's loose or not locked up or not, your gates are open, they will remove that. So that's just my thoughts on why New Zealand is a great country to live in. But now probably you guys want to know more about what we are going to do for South Africans. So, alright, here goes. In the next 12 months, I just want to put that on top of that thing that I can read from there. In the next 12 months, myself, Rudy Karsten, and my son Viljoen, both of them are financial advisors with JVFS, are going to try and help 6 people. These 6 people will have 3 advisors and they will have 12 months. What we are going to do with these people is we are going to try and help them to find their feet in New Zealand from South Africa. So we're not promising them work. We're trying to help them to get work here. We're not promising to do anything basically except giving a heck of a lot of help and assistance from our side. On the assistant part, we are going to assist them. We are going to give them guidance. We are going to look at their CVs. We are going to help them put their CVs to the right people. If we have, and I'm going to put this again, if we have job openings in that specific sector where they are in, they will be the first whose CVs will be sent through to that. So we're trying not to give you guys the wrong impression here. I want to make it quite sure that we have the right impression out there. We will be your anchor point in New Zealand while you are trying to get a job out of South Africa. But we must have as well as the following. We are only going to help South African citizens. If you're from Malawi or Kenya or wherever else, I'm not interested, to be quite frank. I'm trying to get South African citizens out of South Africa. The other problem we have, we don't want people really older than 50. I'm going for 50 this year. There's a reason why. At age 55, your chance to get residence disappears totally. So we want people to be able to get residence. We want people to be able to live permanently in New Zealand after we've helped them. We aren't going to help people with a 1-year visa. I'm being quite frank on that. If you can only apply for a 1-year visa, you're not the right candidate for this exercise that we are trying to run. And then we want you to appear on Facebook Live with us one another time, to tell people what your experience was, to tell people, or to actually show people that we are doing this really. To apply, we are going to drop an email address afterwards. Said about roughly about what's the time now? 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in New Zealand, 8 o'clock in South Africa, about 9 o'clock tonight South African time. That's about 8 o'clock in New Zealand time. And you must be able to give us a CV. We want a copy of your passport as well. You must have WhatsApp ability. And then we would need a cover letter stating the following. On your cover letter, we want you to tell us why we should choose you. We want you to tell us what type of positions you can apply to. We want to see that you at least have some experience in the areas where you are. So if you are fresh out of university, it's a good place probably to be, but it's a difficult one to get a position for. We are really trying to get people to help people. We do not want to have 6 candidates that we will waste our time with, or that we will waste their time with. So we will be rather quite blunt on this. To go back to how this will work, by our cutoff date will be, let's say, Tuesday next week, South African time. That'll give us time, about a day, to work through all the CVs that we do have, and we will start working through them as soon as we get them. Then each of us will choose 10 people, 10 candidates. Each of us will appear on video, and each of us will read those 10 candidates' names, and then we will run a dice, or we will run one of those automatic things to choose somebody out of the 10. We will choose 2 out of the 10. So we must at least have 30 people to make this work. Otherwise, we'll have some other way to look at it. So out of the 10 people, we will choose 2 people. We'll choose them on live video next Thursday or next Wednesday morning or Wednesday evening. Normal time is now, which is Thursday morning 7 o'clock in New Zealand, or Wednesday evening 8 o'clock in South Africa. Once we have chosen the 2 people, then we will have WhatsApp calls to them. We will speak to them. We will get them ready. We will get them to lift their feet that side, and we will start the process for them this side. On our side, we would expect you to use a immigration agent. I don't care who, but I will tell you if I think it's the wrong one. There's a few wrong ones here, sorry about that. And then the reason why we want you to use an immigration agent is the fact that we want your application to go smoothly and quickly. We do not want you to be put back in a queue because you did not tick the right thing and you didn't know you need to tick that. So that is a few of the must-haves that we have on our side. If you have 10,000 degrees, don't put them all onto that CV that you're sending us. Try to keep it as easy as possible for us. If you have very little experience, or if you have got a position currently in South Africa that you don't know the position for in New Zealand, put that in your covering letter. Let us look for that. Let us look at different ways that we can take your skills and make it transferable even to a different type of position. So once we get back to you guys, the chosen ones, let me call them the chosen ones, the 6 candidates, we will give you different ideas and different places to apply to, and we will go through that process. We will check your CVs with you. We'll check your cover letters with you. It'll probably take a lot of time out of our days just to help you guys. And on my side, from myself, once I've done 2 people and there's still time left over in the next 12 months, I'll take more. So I can't talk for Rudy or Zan, but I'll try and influence them to do that as well. Our main aim is basically to help South Africans get out of South Africa. This is absolutely a free service, so at no stage, at no time, we will ever ask you 1 cent for our help. Let's just quite frank on that. We're not doing this to get rich out of this. We're not doing this for any other reason than helping South Africans. So if you need some help there, if you've got your pathway open, let's say you're a doctor and it's easy, you just need to register with the council or medical council here, and then you can become a doctor, you're probably not a good candidate for us. We want that guys that are struggling to find work in New Zealand, that does have the experience to be here, that has something to offer, really something to offer for New Zealanders. As long as you're a South African citizen below 50 and you are able to appear on Facebook with us. Please guys, don't apply if you do not have your CV ready. Do not apply if you don't have a passport. By this time you should have unabridged birth certificates. The police clearances we could probably do a bit later, although there's also a time span that can take us. So if you've got all of that stuff ready, the English test is also something. I don't want to go and say go and do the English test now. Everybody goes and does the English test and they can't come to New Zealand. So, but remember, the English test would probably be something that you need to do as well. I can't really comment on that as another immigration advisor, but immigration will let you know if you need to do that or not. On the other side, you would need a few bucks. You would need money for plane tickets here. You would need money for the immigration advisor. You would need money to start your life in New Zealand. Just keep that in mind. All of this costs money, although our help from our side will be totally for free. We're not offering to help people financially over. If I did win the lotto last night, which did not happen, I have checked 5 minutes before I started this talk, I could have helped about 10 people to immigrate quite easily, but it did not happen. Sorry guys about that. But every Saturday I'm trying to win the lotto. Is there any questions at this current stage? Let me hear your thoughts about that. And if there's any South Africans that are in New Zealand that want to partake with us, that want to help us out there, you want to put your hands up and say, hey Jan, I'm willing to take 2 people on as well. Step forward guys. If you can offer work out there for South Africans, step forward. We need people on the ground. We need people in New Zealand that can, or that have a soft place for South Africans. We need people in New Zealand that have job opportunities open for South Africans. That's quite the important part as well. If you can do that, please step forward. Tell us about what you have. We will source the right candidate for you, or candidates for you. Somebody asked for a mechanic a while ago. I think we sent him about 20 different CVs that he could choose out of. Presumably that position has been filled by a South African at the end of the day. So that was a win for us. But that's not what we do. We're not labor brokers. We don't give people jobs. Neither are we going to do a quick fix and start a company just to employ you. That's not what we're going to do. From our side, we're going to really be there for you. We're going to encourage you the whole time. We are going to give you places to apply to work. We are going to look at your CV. We're going to look at your cover letters. Really, and if at any time you feel you can't go forward, or you become you fall back in despair, because that's what happens with a lot of South Africans. They've sent out a ton of CVs and nothing happens. Now they say, we're going to never reach New Zealand. Guys, those 6 candidates, if you ever come to that position, we will be there. We will be a WhatsApp call away, and we expect you to have WhatsApp so that we can call each other, and we can do video calls with you and walk you through this whole process. So, all right, I'm going to stop mumbling further. So that's just me. I see there was no further questions and no real questions this morning. Glad we had a lot of people. Watching this morning. Hopefully that can lead to some things. I see there's 1 or 2 questions going through saying, why aren't we looking at any individuals that only have a 1-year visa? If you have a 1-year visa, there's a reason why you can only have a 1-year visa 3 times, if I'm right. I'm not talking immigration here, but you can have a 1-year visa 3 times. Thereafter, you've got to leave the country permanently. 1-year visas can't lead to residence, except if you get another type of visa. That's what I've been told, so I could be totally wrong. But the one reason why we don't want to take on 1-year visas is we want people to be able to live here permanently. That's quite frank on that. I don't want to start the process with you and then after a year you've got to go home. That's you can rather go and work in Dubai or somewhere like that where you can get American dollars. So let's keep that in mind. I see a few people saying the data is so slow. If you didn't hear this broadcast, we are going to put it back on Facebook within about 10 minutes afterwards. It will be on Facebook. You can have a look at that on your own time. We are going to drop it down on my YouTube channel as well. So let's see, there's another question coming up. If a person only turns 51 in June and he may still apply, it's from Lean. Lean, send his stuff in. Why not? The big thing is 55 is the cutoff for immigration on residence. Nothing I can do about that. And if we don't have at least a year or two before that, then it's also basically a useless exercise. And I don't want to be a useless exercise. I want to help people. I want to help people get to New Zealand. That's my big thing. And as I said, this is a free service, so I'm not going to make money out of it. But tonight, when I'm getting back in my bed, I'm going to think, geez, I helped somebody to reach New Zealand. Even if that person never says thank you, that's also fine with me. For me, it's more about getting people out of South Africa, because I know what you guys are going through there. I've been there for many years. It's only 2 years out of South Africa, but I still see all your Facebook posts that you do. Sometimes keeps me awake at night, but not too often, because I know there won't be anybody breaking into my house. So, all right, cut-off time to apply once again next Tuesday. By next Tuesday, we're going to close it down because we need to work through all of that stuff, as we want to announce the 6 candidates by next Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock South African time, again on the 30 Minutes with Jan. Asking, must we use an immigration company or a consultant? It'll be advisable, because we really want you to get here. I see a lot of people that struggle to get visas, or even work visas, because they've done stuff wrong, applied for the wrong stuff. I'm not going to go on the immigration side. I'm not going to give you any help on the immigration side, to be quite frank. I'm not allowed to, and I know too little about that. But I know if you've got a good immigration agent or a company, yep, you'll be set. You'll be easy to get in if you have the right job offer and everything else is right. The problem with immigration is the stuff changes so quickly. Even for me, and is in New Zealand, I can't keep up with their changes. And frankly, I'm in insurance, and I see a lot of clients, and I don't want to take time away from my insurance clients. So for me to go and study all the immigration stuff, it's just dead waste, as I'm not allowed even to tell you guys about that. A few last questions. Let's quickly see. What amount of capital should you have available to complete the process? I would say 100,000 rand would probably set you up here. Not well, but will set you up this side, depending if you are bringing your own stuff or not. Yolanda is saying that they are document ready and have moved money to come over. They've got the money to come over to New Zealand. Yep, Yolanda, just apply. We will drop this stuff now on Facebook here. So, guys and girls, that's me, Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay in Tauranga. I hope that we can change 6 people's lives this year, or even more. If we find work for those people quickly, we will take on more people. Or myself, that's a promise I make. I will take on more people. So, all right, that's that. I'm going to show you back to what the mount is all about. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to love you and leave you until next Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock South African time, where we will announce the 6 candidates. All right, hope to see you all here again. Thank you. Stay good.